It is a sun-splashed Sunday. Couldn't ask for a better day for the Brew Crew and the Padres as Milwaukee goes for a sweep over San Diego, who came in strong with the best record in the National League. But the Brew Crew doing the job at home and could hit the 500 plateau as well if they win today for a be the first time since early April. So they're playing good baseball. Dave and Craig back on board here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Brewer starter doesn't go past the fourth inning in the first two games, yet they win, and that's pretty significant because their offense, Davey, has done the job in so many different ways in the first two games.
Well, they certainly have. And the thing that I like about it is that it's been a contribution from top to bottom that have contributed in that offense. But they've done it in various ways, stealing bases, hitting the ball the other way. That's why I think they really have done that very effectively, driving the ball through the middle. And when you do that, you score a lot of runs.
Well, the Padres' numbers very impressive coming into the series. They had won 10 of 11 ball games. The team ERA at that point was 1.98 for that stretch of time, and it didn't allow base runners to get on base and do any damage. So the Brewers completely turning the tables right now on the Padres. That's why they have a chance today to sweep away San Diego, and it would be impressive. They've done it because of the bullpen. They've been bullies. They've been awesome the last 2 days. They picked up where the starters have left off. They have a chance to wrap it up with a sweep today. PA and Rock will tell us who's contributed when we come back.
Milwaukee Brewers today against John Garland of the San Diego Padres. John Garland has a long consecutive scoreless inning streak going. He's at 17 right now. He's been one of the best in the National League all season, a 12-game winner this year. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us. The Brewers are going after a sweep today, Rock. And here's Milwaukee with getting great work out of their bullpen. Over the last 10 games, a bullpen that has an ERA under 2.
Well, and they've been doing a nice job, and in particular in this series. I mean, the starters haven't been all that good. Capuano a couple of days ago, outstanding work. You know, Cappy's been doing a nice job, really did a nice job 3 2/3 scoreless in the first game of this series. Everybody coming in and out of that bullpen. And McClendon, I mean, he has had 2 appearances. He's got 6 innings. Has not allowed a run and throwing strikes. Axer's done a nice job. Trevor Hoffman is starting to step it up. You know, and when you look at the situation in this series, the starters, Gallardo, not very good. Narveson, not very good. Not able to get out of the 4th innings. Capuano and McClendon have been the keys. Have kept the opposition off the board and let the back end of the bullpen finish it off. So with all the talk about the San Diego Padres pitching staff, it's been the Brewers bullpen that's been the story so far in this series.
Now we'll see what we have today. The Brewers trying to sweep the division leaders in the National League West. Can they get it done? It's the Brewers and the Padres. It's Game 3, and it's coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Now the Brewers showing a little late life here late in the season. They are 12 games back, but 5 games under 500, and a big crowd filing in here at Miller Park today. And we're looking forward to today's broadcast, and today's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. And they're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And we welcome all of you listening in today from our armed forces. Bud Black and the first place Padres, they still lead by 5. San Diego opened this series with the Brewers with a 6-game lead over the San Francisco Giants in the West Division. They've only surrendered one of those games. And Bud Black is going to give the ball to one of his best starters, in John Garland. Meanwhile, Manny Parra gets the call for Milwaukee. Parra trying to win for the first time in nearly 2 months. He's 3-9 this year and a 5.36 earned run average. Here's the lineup that will face Manny Parra today for San Diego. It's brought to you by Subway. David Eckstein, Miguel Tejada, and Adrian Gonzalez at the top. It's Ryan Ludwig, Chase Headley, and Chris Denorfia in the middle of the batting order. And Bud Black has Nick Hundley, Luis Durango, and John Garland rounding it out. And check the numbers on Manny Parra this season.
Well, Manny Parra looking for his first win since July 3rd. He beat the Cardinals in St. Louis. He's had a tough time getting out of the 6th inning. He's thrown pretty well through 5, but the 6th inning seems to be a problem for Manny, particularly in his last 4 starts.
Here's how the Brewers line up defensively behind Parra, courtesy of Blaine's. Braun, Kane, and Dickerson in the outfield, the same outfield that we saw last night. Craig Counsell gets the start at short with the regular customers around the infield, and Luke Croy, the rookie catcher, back behind the plate for Manny Parra. Now we asked Manny Parra his thoughts on the San Diego Padres. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it's a good ball club. They're playing really well. They have a pretty good lineup now. They've made an addition with Ludwig and Miguel Tejada. So, you know, they're improved in that aspect. Their pitching is really good, so you know you got to limit them, and it's going to be a low-scoring ball game. So, you know, just try to pound the bottom of the zone and locate the fastball.
Well, and that's what Manny's been doing. His fastball has been pretty good, and particularly early in the ball game, he's been very good. The changeup, the split-fingered fastball, has been a good strikeout pitch for Manny lately.
Well, Manny Parra in the daytime, and plenty of sunshine today, which is going to create plenty of shadows. Always tough on a hitter at Miller Park. Afternoon games. Tom Hallion is the crew chief, and he's the plate umpire today. Ron Kolpa, Lance Barksdale, and Ed Rapuano on the bases. Beautiful day for baseball in the Midwest. We're glad you're with us. First pitch to David Eckstein is a strike, and away we go. Eckstein back for his second game. He had a calf injury. Knocked him out of the lineup for a couple of weeks. Little roller to Counsell. And one gone here in the first inning. Good start for Parra. 78 degrees as we hit the air today. The roof wide open. Blue skies up above. And this homestand continuing. This will be a 9-game, 10-day homestand when it's all said and done. This is game 3 of the homestand. The Brewers will take a day off tomorrow. And then the Dodgers come to town with Manny Ramirez on Tuesday. And then the Pirates come to town at the end of the week and on into next weekend. Miguel Tejada batting second today. Tejada was hitless yesterday. Has 1 hit in the series. That was a double in his final at bat on Friday night. And as good as the bullpen has been for the Brewers in this series, you have to imagine that Ken Maka would like to see a starter go deep into a game. Yes, his bullpen has picked up a lot of innings.
Yeah, they have. I mean, you know, the Brewers starters in this series, and they have won both games, have only been able to get into the 4th inning. Have not been able to get out of the 4th. Yvonne Gallardo and Chris Narveson yesterday. Very unusual for Yo, but the bullpen picked them up.
In the 2 games so far, the bullpen has picked up 11 2/3 innings of the 18 that have been played. Chris Capuano went 3 2/3 on Friday night. McGee, nice pickup. Look at the hands by Casey McGee. And the second out of the inning. That was a beautiful play over there by the Brewers' third baseman.
Yep, bright and early in the morning. You got to be ready. That was a tricky hop off the bat of Miguel Tejada. A little bit of topspin on it, and Casey able to throw the glove out there and get the out. Nice play. Right out of the gates, no warming up. Tough play for Casey, able to make it. And Manny Parra throwing strikes early today.
And when Rock says bright and early in the morning, he means that on baseball time. For a baseball player, 1 o'clock is That's like crack of dawn.
That's when they normally show up for a night game, right?
That's right.
So you get here at about 9 o'clock for a day game. Brewers have struggled during the day. Maybe they just don't like their schedule disrupted.
Yeah, well, the Brewers did win their last day game. They beat Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals, as a matter of fact. But the day games record is not where they want to be. Milwaukee, it's 16-27 during the daytime. 11 games under 500. 2 outs for Adrian Gonzalez. He has been at the plate in some big situations in the series, especially yesterday. He did drive in a pair of runs on Friday night, but yesterday, a couple of key strikeouts on Gonzalez. Matter of fact, he struck out his last 3 plate appearances in yesterday's game.
All high fastballs. Get ahead, down in the zone, keep the ball away from, keep him in the ballpark, and then get him on a high fastball. Of course, you have to have something behind it. And Manny's been using that split-fingered fastball much more with 2 strikes, even the left-handed hitters. I think because of that, his success against lefties has been a lot better.
2-2 to Gonzalez. Now, Adrian Gonzalez loves hitting at Miller Park. Has a career batting average at Miller Park of .435. Has 30 hits in this ballpark.
And he's had a very good time of it against Manny Parr. 8 for 15 in his career against Manny.
Here's the 2-2, and it's down and away. Count goes full to Gonzalez. Gonzalez with 3 hits in the series. He had a home run in the first inning of Friday night's game against Gallardo. Had an RBI single as well in that game. He's such a good hitter. You feel, even though he's had 3 hits and 2 RBIs, he's kept him pretty quiet. That one's well hit to left. Back is Braun at the wall, and he leaps. It's gone. Adrian Gonzalez. Major power to the opposite field, and he shows it off right there. And the San Diego Padres strike first.
Yep, the 3-2 fastball right down the middle, and Gonzalez, certainly a guy with enough power to take it to the opposite field. Ball down. We've been talking, his strikeouts have come on fastballs up. That one down, catching a lot of the plate. And Gonzalez got under it, but strong enough to knock it out of here. His second career home run against Parra, and is now 9 for 16 against Manny. Nice easy swing. Ball just jumps off his bat.
Well, he will be one of the most coveted free agents in baseball. Many felt that San Diego was destined for a losing season this year, and Gonzalez would have been traded by now, but because the Padres have hung in there and they lead the division, all of a sudden Gonzalez becomes a major weapon for the Padres down the stretch.
And not only are they not going to trade Gonzalez, but they're adding some veteran batters in their lineup. They've got a good pitching staff. They just need to be able to score some runs.
2 key acquisitions offensively, Miguel Tejada and this hitter, Ryan Ludwig, who bookend Adrian Gonzalez in the Padres batting order. The second home run of the series on his 4th hit of the series. And a swing and a miss. So Ludwig down on strikes. But Gonzalez gives the Friars the early lead here today. He belts his 25th home run of the season. Now the Brewers coming up. And 1-0 San Diego before the Brewers come to bat. Here's the Brewers lineup turned in by Ken Maka. It's brought to you by Subway with the Weeks, Council, and Braun at the top. Fielder, McGee, and Kane in the middle of the batting order with Chris Dickerson, Jonathan Lucroy, and Manny Parra rounding it out.
And John Garland hasn't given up a run in quite some time. In his career against Milwaukee, 2-0 with a 1.88 earned run average. That's in 5 games, including 3 starts. Had a rough start to his season, although he pitched well. Lost his first 2 starts, but since that time is 12-6. So John Garland throwing well.
Here's how the Padres line up defensively. It's Denorfia in left today with Durango and Ludwig in the outfield with him. The infield is Headley, Tejada, Eckstein, and Gonzalez. Same as yesterday. Nick Hundley gets the call behind the plate for Yorvi Torrealba. And Ricky Weeks ready to lead off. A .273 hitter to start play today with 23 home runs and 73 runs batted in. Notice Ricky with his hands a little lower over the last couple of days. Watched him take batting practice before the game today. And he always has that waggle, but I think he's kind of bought into the Corey Hart philosophy. Just a little tweak. Sometimes, even when you're having a good season, you go through a stretch at the plate and it just doesn't feel right. And you want to just maybe change it enough to feel it again.
Well, sometimes as you go through the year, and Ricky hasn't had too many days off, maybe a little bit slow with the bat. He feels as though he needs to quicken up a little bit, less movement with the hands, and then just drop it, keep the bat right at the top of the strike zone. Always a constant state of adjustments up there at the plate.
Weeks has 1 hit in the series. That was a double and an RBI back in the 5th inning of Friday's game. And down he goes. An emphatic call by Tom Hallion. And Weeks is rung up.
Probably the best ring-up call in all of baseball, Tom Hallion. He acts as though he enjoys it, rings up Ricky. That one had plenty to plate. Good pitch by Garland. And catching the outside corner.
Now, how good has John Garland been? His last 3 starts, a 2-1 record, an ERA under 1. And in those 3 games, covering his last 2 starts and the finish of his 3rd game, 17 consecutive scoreless innings on the mound for John Garland. He's 12-8 this year. Twice won 18 games while a member of the White Sox. And he was a big part of the White Sox World Series championship team back in 2005. Craig Counsell playing in his 1500th game of his career today. Little bouncer to Gonzalez. And the second out. It's a bit of a milestone for Counsell. He just celebrated his 40th birthday yesterday. He would have been happy with 1 game in the big leagues. And here he is, game number 1500 in his career.
Yeah, got signed by the Rockies, got released very soon thereafter, and who knows? I mean, somebody give him an opportunity. The Dodgers pick him up, and has had some very good years. The Florida Marlins, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and now a Brewer. Has been a tremendous career for Craig Counsell.
So 2 outs for Garland, and here's Ryan Braun. These two are from the same town in California, Granada Hills. Different high schools, but the same area. Cameron Lowe's on that list as well. Cameron Lowe and Ryan Braun actually went to the same high school. So Braun knows Garland well. Braun's a lot younger than John Garland. Garland is 30 years of age. Braun just 26. Last night, Ryan Braun unleashing. Finally hit 1 out. It's been a while for Braun. Been almost a month between home runs. He belted number 17 in the 6th inning last night. Had 2 hits, was on base 3 times, and has been on base in this series 7 times.
Seeing the baseball well and driving the ball to the opposite field, covering the outside corner very well. You know, it's something that we talk about quite a bit with Ryan Braun, but it gives you an indication the fact that he's starting to see the ball and feel better at the plate. There was a stretch where he was having a tough time with that pitch.
Now Braun with 4 hits in the series. He's walked 3 times and has only been retired twice.
Much more patient at the plate as well, as has Prince.
He's in a hitter's count here in the first inning, with Fielder looming on deck. He took a little off on a 3-1 pitch.
Got a good changeup, this Garland. His best pitch is his sinking fastball. Gets a lot of ground ball outs. He'll throw a good curveball and that changeup on a fastball count. And Ryan out in front pitches out of the zone.
Boy, that just gets your head spinning as a hitter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Throws you a 3-1 changeup in the first inning.
Well, now what are you thinking, right? 3-2. You have no idea what you're going to get. Normally what you get 3-1 is what you get 3-2.
And Braun takes it for ball 4. Ryan's been very selective in this series, and it continues today. And now Prince Fielder will get a swat at Garland. Fielder still leads the Brewers in home runs, our Powerball home run leaderboard. As Fielder at the top, Corey Hart and Ricky Weeks with 23 apiece. Casey McGee is into the 20s now, and Braun with 17. Corey Hart is available to hit today, but he's still nursing a sore hamstring, and with a team day off tomorrow, might not see Corey Hart play today. If he does hit, he'll immediately be pinch run for him.
Yeah, well, you certainly prefer not to have Corey in the lineup, or at least have to run at all today. Ken Maka would prefer to have him get the extra days off and probably be ready for that Dodgers series.
Now Fielder begins the day 6th in the league in homers. Albert Pujols leads the league with 32. Fielder 7 behind, and has company now, and the 2 Gonzalez's is Carlos and Adrian. Adrian just hit his 25th in the first. Fielder into center field. That's well hit. Durango cannot get there. Oh, and it bounces off the top of the wall. Matter of fact, that is going to be a ground rule double, and that is a bad break for the Brewers.
Yeah.
Braun's going to be sent back to third. It bounced up and over the wall and then hit the back concrete wall and came back into play. It would have been a certain run and an RBI for Fielder if it stays in the ballpark.
Yep, just barely made it over that wall. Prince hammered that baseball. It was slicing away from Durango as it got out there. And right away, Prince is hoping that doesn't bounce over the fence, because, as you mentioned, that would have been an easy run. Ryan Braun screaming around third base. Hit the warning track and just barely trickling over that yellow line. Good job by Prince staying on that pitch. Left-handers need to stay on the baseball with Garland the way it sinks away from him.
So 2 on with 2 out. Here's McGee. Casey putting together a career year this year in his 2nd season in the big leagues. 16 homers last year as a rookie. Finished 5th in the Rookie of the Year voting a season ago, and he's backed those numbers up. 20 homers, 82 runs batted in for McGee. Chance to pick up a couple of more here. McGee has been so impressive in spots like this. 2 outs with runners in scoring position. They actually keep a stat on this, and Casey McGee is hitting .351.
And that's because he's willing to go to right field. He stays on the pitch very well. Pitches away, he'll drive into the right field gap.
A 2-0 breaking ball from Garland.
Ordinarily, hitters that are good in situations like this are hitters that don't strike out much, or at least don't try and hit the ball out of the ballpark.
McGee is 3rd in the league in RBIs. Pujols leads, then Votto. Pujols leads the league with 88. And McGee with 82 to start play today. Votto has 83.
How about a 2-0 curveball to Casey McGee? I think that Garland's saying to himself, if I walk you, I'll go after the rookie.
And Lorenzo Cain is on deck. And a base open at first. Strike surprised him with a fastball. 2-2. There's the rookie center fielder, Cain. And that's what Bill's talking about. The ability of McGee not just to deliver base hits to the opposite field, but to hang an account on a pitch like that. Able to foul it off with that right field approach.
Well, your natural instinct is to pull the baseball. You can react inside, but very difficult to look inside and react away. And Casey's very good at fighting off some tough pitches on the outside part of the plate.
Well, he's in a battle here with Garland. Brewers trying to answer in the first. Padres got a run in the top of the first on a Gonzalez home run. Oh, McGee, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Breaking ball from Garland. And the ground rule double cost the Brewers a run here. So the Crew strands a pair and failed to score in the first. On our way to the second.
Olsen. Both clubhouses were buzzing this morning with the news that Lou Piniella has decided to step down after today's game against the Braves at Wrigley Field. Now, Piniella had announced a month ago his intention to retire at the end of the season, but he moved up his timetable in order to care for his ailing mother in Tampa. And guys, it's interesting that his last game will come against Bobby Cox, who has announced that this will be his last season in the Braves dugout.
Yeah, and as Lou Piniella goes out with a club that is struggling, and it won't be the kind of finish he was looking for. Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves are in first place in the National League East, and they're trying to win one for Bobby, as they say. As Chase Headley sends one deep to left, and there she goes. So 2 home runs given up by Manny Parra. Headley joins Adrian Gonzalez, and it's 2-0 San Diego. That's number 10 for Chase Headley.
On the 18th allowed by Manny this year. And look at Headley on a 1-0 count. You know, fastball up and in, looking inside, and able to keep it fair, hit it hard. Second deck out there in left field.
That is only the second home run of the year for Headley as a right-handed batter. The switch-hitting third baseman usually does his damage from the left side of the plate, but not this time. So he's into double digits, having his best year of his big league career. And now it's Denorfia who takes strike one. We've seen some home runs in this series for sure. San Diego had a couple of home runs on Friday. Casey McGee had a home run Friday night as well. And then it was Braun last night who homered.
And Matt Stairs, a pinch hit home run to get the Padres within 1 run last night. There's Matty, former Brewer.
With that softball swing, he's going to be great on the softball lots after his big league career.
Now he's hit more pinch hit home runs than any player in history, right?
After last night's homer, number 21 of his career. Lucroy pounces, got to hurry with Denorfia just in time to get the Padres left fielder. And one away in the second. Yep, a little history made last night. Former Brewer Matt Stairs, a pinch hit home run, his 21st pinch hit home run of his career. He was tied with Cliff Johnson with 20. Johnson who played for the New York Yankees. And Stairs all alone now at the top of the list for pinch hit homers. Congratulations to Matt Stairs. I actually worked with Cliff Johnson. At one point, he was my broadcast partner.
Is that right?
For one game in San Antonio, Texas.
Cliff could hit. Remember the Toronto Blue Jays, the Cleveland Indians, the Yankees, among other teams. And well, he took a hack. He was a guy that, Cliff Johnson, when you were catching, you had to make sure. He used to let go of the top hand and bring that bat back. Got one right on top of the head. It was the next day I started wearing a helmet behind home plate.
So you wore a hat instead of the helmet?
Right, the cloth hat.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. Answers a lot of questions you've had.
Here is Luis Durango. Doesn't look a day over 18, but he's here in the big leagues. He was just called up yesterday. Very fast switch hitting outfielder, and he likes to do that a lot.
Hey, fans, take advantage of the DQ Family Days. Buy a Terrace Reserve ticket in select areas on select Sundays and get a coupon for a free hot dog, small soda, and a buy one, get one free Dairy Queen Blizzard. That sounds good on a day like today.
Got to eat it fast, though.
Yeah, I can do that.
There's a strike from Parra. 0-2 of the count on Durango. Recalled from Portland prior to last night's game. His third stint with the big league club this season. In the major leagues, he has 8 hits this year. 8 for 19, a .421 average. It's interesting that 8 of his 14 career hits in the big leagues have been infield hits. Just makes contact and gets it on the ground.
And he tried to bunt for the base hit. First pitch that he saw today.
He hit for a high average in AAA Portland in the Pacific Coast League. A .301 batter. And 35 stolen bases as well. A swing and a miss. Manny strikes him out. Parra's second strikeout. And now the pitcher, John Garland, will hit.
Yep, good split-fingered fastball to Durango. Guys like Durango that just like to slap the ball around. You got to pitch those guys down in the zone. There's that tumbler. Well located. And gets him underneath that bat.
So 2 out. Here's Garland. And he sends one to left. Braun almost in his tracks. Makes a catch. Inning over. But a leadoff home run from Chase Headley. And the Padres have a 2-0 lead as we head to the home second. Headley and Adrian Gonzalez. 2-0 San Diego as we head to the bottom of the second. And it's time for our carsoup.com email the booth question. Today's question comes from Adam in Milwaukee. And he wants to know who would be your vote to win the NL Cy Young Award right now, Bill Schroeder.
Right now?
Right now.
Adam Wainwright. It would be my guy. 17-7. I do understand he's got the 7 losses. He's leading the league in earned run average, 2.06. He was under 2 before the Brewers beat him a few days ago. But, don't discount Ubaldo Jimenez. He could get hot. Tim Hudson, perhaps one of the 2 Atlanta Brave pitchers that might be comeback player of the year. Billy Wagner, the other. And Roy Halladay, year after year, regardless of what league he's in, is always going to be in the running for the Cy Young. But I'd give it to Wainwright. And a little bit of that has to do with last year.
Yeah, Wainwright. And that has a lot to do with how those who vote this year, based on last year. And sometimes there is that layover from a season ago. Last year, it looked like Wainwright was headed for a Cy Young Award. He finished 3rd in the voting behind Lincecum, who won the award, and Chris Carpenter. But Wainwright led the league in wins. He led all of baseball in wins last year. Lorenzo Cain sends one to left, and Denorfia hauls it in for out number 1. Who do you think is going to win the Cy Young at the end of the year? Do you think Adam Wainwright will continue? I know that's your right now vote. Who do you see pushing it through to the finish of the season?
I wish I had a crystal ball to see how they all finished. But, it's a pretty good chance you're going to have a number of 20-game winners this year. It is, after all, the year of the pitcher. And, you got Jimenez, who's probably going to end up with 20. Halladay's probably going to end up with 20. Wainwright, guys like that. Maybe Hudson.
Something special about that 20-win season.
They all have big incentives. Most of those guys, or just about every one of them, is in a pennant race. Didn't even mention Josh Johnson on that list. When Johnson was leading the league in earned run average, I guess you could make a good case for him, but he just doesn't have the wins. Probably not his fault. But doesn't have the wins right now, really, compared to the rest of them. And you?
I like Wainwright. I'm in there with you. I also like Tim Hudson, though. Tim Hudson is a guy who is on a contender, and he is the ace of that staff, much like Wainwright, and can be very efficient. We'll see how he finishes up. It'd be a great story either way. I think Wainwright certainly deserves it, though. But we got a lot of baseball to be played, and a few bad outings, and all of a sudden the ERA starts creeping near 3 or over 3. I think it's going to be someone in the low 2s this year, and probably someone who wins 20. As Chris Dickerson draws the walk. Second walk issued by John Garland.
Yeah, walks are up for Garland this year. That's his 70th walk of the year, including the one in the first inning to Ryan Braun. 70 walks and 102 strikeouts for Garland. And normally more of a contact pitcher, getting the ground ball out. Effectively wild, they say.
Yeah, Garland's always been a guy who gives up more hits than innings pitched, but not this year. He's kept his hits down this season, which is one of the reasons he's having such a good season in San Diego. He has 20 more innings than hits this year. At one point, Garland led the league in hits allowed, back when he was pitching for the White Sox.
That's always the benchmark. If you're equal number of hits to innings pitched, that's considered to be very, very good. But that's all dependent on the walks. It's walks and hits per inning. That's equally as important. So when you add all the walks for Garland, he's put on a fair amount of base runners.
And the famed whip stat. Now it has an official name. Used to just call it walks and hits. Now it's the whip.
I just have a tough time saying it.
Well, you could say it like Stewie, and call it whip.
Stewie?
Family Guy.
Family Guy, yeah.
Whip. Gives you a little cachet when you say it that way. Really push the H. Lucroy fouls it away. Ball and a strike on Jonathan Lucroy. There are some aces on the mound today in Major League Baseball. CC Sabathia is working on a shutout in New York. Rainy Yankee Stadium. Sabathia matching up with the Mariners. Roy Oswalt pitches today for Philadelphia. Santana for the Mets. He has the Pirates today in Pittsburgh. Some frontline pitchers did not fare so well last night. Tim Lincecum giving up 4 runs again. Giants lost to the Cardinals. A tough break for Steven Strasburg as well last night. He left the game in the 5th inning with an elbow injury.
Another concern for Strasburg and that throwing arm. Man, that didn't take long.
He is done for the year, reports out of Washington say. His next visit will be to Dr. James Andrews in Birmingham.
Hate to see that. Wow.
Flexor tendon. That's the same injury that Ben Sheets has been dealing with. Sheets basically tried to pitch through it and rehab it. And earlier this year in his comeback, he had to have surgery. Tejada to second on a hop. They get the out there. They turn the double play. What a double play that was, specifically from David Eckstein. As Chris Dickerson wiped him out at second base, the Padres turn 2. San Diego out of the inning. Some kind of play here. The official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin, and by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more.
Drew Olson back at Miller Park, pleased to be joined by the Brewers Executive Vice President of Business Operations, Rick Schlesinger. Rick, you're in a third of the way through today, the longest homestead of the year, and there's a lot on tap for the coming week.
Yeah, we have a very exciting event on Tuesday. We're going to honor Commissioner Seelig with the unveiling of a statue in the plaza next to Hank Aaron and Robin Yount. So the public's invited to watch the ceremonies. A lot of dignitaries. It's going to be a special day. Next Friday is PNC Bank Fireworks Night. We're going to have a nice post-game fireworks show, weather permitting, but I'm crossing my fingers that the roof will be open, the skies will be clear. And then the last game of the homestand Sunday, CC Bobblehead, sponsored by Palermo's and Piggly Wiggly. It's the last out of the 2008 regular season when CC completed the game against the Cubs. So I think fans will have fun with the bobblehead.
Well, CeCe pitched 18 games for the Brewers. Rock's been here a long time. When does he get a statue or a bobblehead?
We'll have to see. It might take a little time.
I'm working for you, Rock.
That's maybe just a concrete statue would work well for you, Rock.
That would be a huge block of concrete, wouldn't it?
Now we're pleased to be joined now by Bob Costas. Great to have you in Milwaukee.
Hey, Brian.
Always good to see you. And speaking of the commissioner, you're here visiting with the commissioner amongst others.
Mm-hmm. Dropping in to spend a little time with Bob Uecker and intersect with Dick Enberg, who's back in baseball doing Padres games, and see you guys.
And you're back in baseball to some extent, too. We've been watching you on the MLB Network. Doing a fine job. Calling games again, which is where you belong.
It's great to be involved in baseball more regularly than I had been in previous years.
A little bouncer out to Weeks. Tejada is retired. Bob's going to.
Now we all have
we
all have a connection with your buddy Matt Vasgersian over there. And what's it like working with Matt? You know, Brian and I both have worked with Vasgersian. Sometimes it can be kind of a challenge, wouldn't you say?
Well, in fact, he worked for both of these clubs, the Brewers and the Padres, and you never quite know where Matt's going to go. You got the wide frame of reference, pop culture asides. You know, you got to be alert when you work with Matt.
You know, I always explained, what it was like to work with Matt. I didn't know one pitch from next, if I was going to, teach him how to hold a curveball or a Flintstones episode.
And we used to call Matt the Armenian Bob Costas, so we bring it all together.
It's quite an honor.
That's right.
For me, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure, really.
He just grows a beard extremely quickly. Adrian Gonzalez at the plate for the Padres. He hit a home run his last time up. So tell us about your trek through the major leagues as you've been calling games. I've seen you with John Smoltz and Tom Verducci. That was fun to listen to.
It was kind of a unique thing where they took the writer, Sports Illustrated writer Tom Verducci, and said, let's see how you do doing color on the game. So we did the Dodgers-Phillies game about a week and a half ago. It was the game where the Phillies came back from down 9-2 in the bottom of the 8th, scored 4 in the 8th and 4 in the bottom of the 9th to pull it out. So Tom had a good game to work with. And Jim Cott, who's always been terrific no matter where he's worked on baseball, has done a lot of games with me, so it's been fun.
Well, it's a unique scene up here in the press box today with Bob here. And he mentioned Dick Enberg and, of course, Bob Uecker. Dignitaries all over the press box. And it's always fun to talk shop. And the biggest dignitary of them all, Vin Scully, announced that he's coming back for 2011. And that's always great news for us and you and everybody who's in this business.
So he'll be back at age 83.
Amazing.
Working alone. The game goes 17 innings. Vin's got 17 innings worth of stuff.
Yep, and sounds in inning 17 like he did inning number 1.
Amazing.
He always has some good perspectives on the game. We talk up here. This year seems to be the year of the pitcher. 5 no-hitters, including a couple of perfect games. What is your spin on that?
Well, what baseball people tell me is, especially in the handling of young pitchers, things have become a lot more sophisticated. And I'm not just talking about pitch counts. I'm talking about developing young pitchers, techniques, the use of video, better coaching. You're seeing more and more guys who can bring it up there 93, 94, 95. Now, the guys that can throw 99, 100, they're the ones that are always going to be eye-popping. But there are more guys than we may realize that routinely get into the mid-90s. And if your fastball doesn't hit 90, you're regarded as a soft tosser. If you're only an 87, 88 guy, in modern baseball, you're a soft tosser. Plus, with the development of the bullpens, not every team has great pitching depth, but still you're seeing fresh arms from about the 6th inning on in many games, and most teams have an effective closer. So it's not as easy to beat up on lousy pitching in the middle of the game as it used to be.
That's a great perspective, and that's one of the reasons why the Padres have been so good this year. And you break down the San Diego team, and their success is great for baseball, but they make it a 6-inning game with their 3 pitchers at the end of their bullpen.
And there's another aspect to this which can't be ignored. Steroid use hasn't been completely eliminated. No sport will ever completely eliminate it. But baseball has substantially reduced it. It's obvious. You just look at the body types, you look at the statistics, you look at the way the ball leaves the bat. It's obvious that it's so much different than it was several years ago, and that's had an effect too.
Well, I think you were one of the first to question, at least from what you saw, the numbers, the body sizes, the body types, even a Roger Clemens, who's been in the news all week, and his indictment. And you were here a few years back when Barry Bonds was at Miller Park. And
in 07.
That was fun.
He was closing in on Aaron. He was just a week or two from surpassing Hank Aaron. And we came here to do a piece about it for HBO.
As Gonzalez fouls one away.
And so Barry was back in the clubhouse while I was talking to you guys. And most members of the media were still dancing around it. And that was beginning to irritate me. People were saying things like, this is America, innocent until proven guilty. Well, we weren't talking about criminal charges. We're talking about the court of public opinion, you know? Or I heard people say things like, well, he might have juiced, but he's still the greatest hitter I've ever seen.
Little bouncing ball to Weeks, and Gonzalez is retired.
And my question was, as great as Barry Bonds has always been, and he would have been a near unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer on his true natural merits, nobody ever said that Barry Bonds was better than Ted Williams or Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth until he started juicing.
Right.
You look at Barry Bonds' numbers, which were first ballot Hall of Fame to begin with, they then took a quantum leap from all-time great to ridiculous video game numbers. A guy who'd hit a home run once every 15 times at bat through a long career suddenly hit one every 6.5 times at bat in 2001.
Ludwig sends one deep to left field. Looks like Braun has room, and he's got it for the out. Can you hang it, Bruce?
Absolutely.
We'd love to continue.
To be continued.
To be continued after this.
See if Barry's got it on the satellite.
He's not in the clubhouse, I know that. Couple of solo home runs as we head to the bottom of the third inning, and the Brewers are coming up, and Bob Costas is with us here in the booth, and we're telling this story about Barry Bonds, steroid usage.
So,
when you were
so I'm sitting right here in this booth. It's sometime in the summer, I guess July, late June or something of 07, and Bonds is closing in on Aaron. And I simply said, you guys asked me, what do you think? I'm letting you call these, Brian. Seems like a good idea.
Seems like you could call him just as easily as Parra flies out to left.
Anyway, so you asked me, what do you think? And I said, I live on this planet. What else are you going to think? Not just Bonds, Sosa, McGuire. What else are you going to think? And then people would say, well, why pick on Barry Bonds? I'll tell you why. They didn't stop the game when Marvin Bernard went past Rafael Ramirez on the all-time home run list, even though Marvin Bernard is in the Mitchell report. If the President of the United States is charged with the same offense as a county court clerk in Joplin, Missouri, it's a bigger story because he's the President of the United States. Barry Bonds was one of the greatest players of all time. He holds, fraudulently, the single-season and all-time home run records. That's why it was a big story. That's why no one was particularly picking on him. Right. As witness Mark McGuire, less than 25% of the Hall of Fame vote. As witness Roger Clemens, who now stands, charged with perjury and facing serious consequences. So all of these defenses of Barry Bonds flew in the face of logic and were an insult to the intelligence of a reasonably bright 9-year-old. And that's all I said. Somehow that didn't please Barry, and the stuff hit the fan immediately after that.
Bob, you got to stop sitting on the fence on these things.
Well, there you go.
And of course, Bob had the interview with Mark McGuire. So all of a sudden, we're here thinking about the statue of Bud Selig on Tuesday, and now we're thinking maybe Bob Costas should be the next commissioner of baseball.
That ain't happening.
Can't afford it.
That is not happening. No, from what I've seen about Bud's compensation, they could afford me.
You could be talked into it on a financial level, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think that's the stumbling block. But I've always said that I do not consider myself qualified because I've been outspoken on some baseball issues in the past. Some people have been nice enough to say that, but I've never encouraged it. And the analogy I always use is, if you think someone's a good political commentator or columnist, that doesn't mean that you think he or she should be president or Supreme Court justice. It just means that you think their viewpoint is interesting and should be part of the discussion. So if I've been a constructive part of the discussion, then I'm happy with that. But I'm certainly not qualified to be commissioner or interested in being commissioner. Plus, Bud Selig will be commissioner for another few years. Mm-hmm. He's said that. And, you know, his midterm grade around the turn of the century might have been, I don't know, in fairness, a C. Mm-hmm. Steroid era, some of the game's financial problems. However, now, I think that grade has gone up substantially. Sure. In fairness, Bud Selig's overall tenure has been tremendously positive for baseball. Does that mean that he's beyond criticism? No. But has it been tremendously positive? I think it has on balance.
Before this inning ends, and Craig Counsell obliges by taking a pitch, your thoughts on replay and where it's headed, where you'd like to see it go?
They use replay in the Little League World Series where it has no place whatsoever. You're going to tell 11 and 12-year-old kids that we should be arguing about what some volunteer umpire does? So there's no place there. On the other hand, we can't overturn a Don Denkinger call in the real World Series. Right. What's wrong with this picture? You need it in the one. Right. It doesn't belong at all in the other.
And they overturned a call in the Little League World Series yesterday at first base. So these kids are...
Well, that was a lot closer than the Denkinger play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe an umpire in the press box is where we're headed. We'll see. As Craig Counsell, a little soft fly ball. It's going to fall. A base hit. Craig Counsell aboard with 2 outs, which helps us extend our conversation with Mr. Costas.
You know, my feeling has always been that you don't really need replay in baseball during the regular season, A, because over 162 things tend to even out, and B, not every game is covered with the same technical wherewithal. You don't have as many cameras and replay angle possibilities on this game as you would on a Fox game or an ESPN Sunday night game. However, when you get to the postseason, every game and every play is disproportionately important. You have all the technical resources you could possibly want. You can have a representative of the commissioner's office at every game. By precedent, they add 2 umpires anyway, so they've already said these games are more important. It'd be far more useful to have an additional umpire in the press box than it would to have a guy down the left field line or the right field line.
I agree. I think the outfield umpire actually disrupts what these umpires do in a 4-man crew all season. The outfield umpire brings a level of, I don't know, it's a little out of the norm for them to give up that responsibility to an outfield umpire.
And one of the things we've seen, I mean, and we've been in these booths a long time, but, you know, except for a couple of, you know, really bad calls that have gotten a lot of press, but these umpires are right most of the time, and they're very close calls.
And nobody thinks it should be used, at least no credible person thinks it should be used on balls and strikes. Just on plays on the bases, and fair or foul, perhaps. And you also have to concede that in baseball, you have situations you wouldn't have in other sports, like continuation plays.
Right.
You know, the runners are off. A ball is caught or is it trapped? Now we'll review it. Okay, what do you do with the runners if you reverse the call?
Where do you put them? It's their opinion where they would be, right? Yeah, I agree.
So it's tricky.
And then you have the time of game issue when you have replay. How many replays are you going to make?
2-0 the count on Ryan Braun. Counsell over at first.
I think, first of all, the amount of time to review a play might not be much longer than the argument that ensues when nothing's going to be settled anyway.
I agree with that.
Plus, in the postseason, it's important enough. You know, someone may be upset if a 3-2 game takes almost 4 hours on a Tuesday in August. But no one cares if you add 5 minutes to a postseason game. Right. You'd rather get it right and not have an injustice. Call a high strike. That would move things along.
Well, that's his contention, and he's right. The high strike not just changes those calls that are now strikes, but it also puts the hitter in a more aggressive position at the plate.
There's really no incentive for a hitter to swing at a close pitch these days. It doesn't seem like anyway. You're better off taking it. There's a good chance it's going to be called a ball.
In addition to that, you get ahead in the count, you get into hitters' counts, which is part of the strategy, and you build up the pitch count to get the starter out of there earlier. That's the way a lot of teams, especially in the American League, the Yankees and Red Sox, that's practically their stated purpose coming into a game. And the average Yankee-Red Sox game takes 4 hours.
Right. Let's see, average time of game, Miller Park is at 3:08 and the 1 second, which is the second longest in all of baseball behind games at Fenway Park.
The upside there, though, is more time to scarf down brats.
Yes. Brats and Miller beer.
Have you had any?
I had one today. I had to. It'll be a sacrilege not to.
Now, are you a mustard guy or stadium sauce?
I actually both.
Nice.
Secret stadium sauce with the dark mustard. Little combination. That's my thing.
You're taking a stance on so many powerful issues, and
Yeah.
you will stand right in the middle with the sauce on the brat.
I'm just trying to be truthful.
All right. Fielder right into the shift. Eckstein standing in the outfield grass. And Fielder is retired. Bob, it's always great to see you. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Brian.
Good luck.
Bill.
Thanks,
Good
Bob.
to see you guys.
Bob Costas. We appreciate it. He's the best. He'll be on the radio in a minute.
Switch on over.
And hosted her 5th annual Step Up to the Plate in the fight against breast cancer. The fundraiser supported the Southeast Wisconsin affiliate of Susan J. Komen for the Cure. Guests enjoyed bidding on an array of silent auction items as they watched the game from the suites.
That was a great event. Saw a lot of the Brewers' wives involved in that event as well. And talked to Michelle Council about that and raising a lot of money and awareness. And Doug Melvin, Ellen's husband, who's the general manager of the Brewers.
Right.
He had a pink tie event last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I believe. So we're happy to support those charitable causes. Chase Headley flies out to right, and 1 away in the 4th. Time now for our U.S. Cellular text to vote question of the week. We want to hear from you on this question. We'll wrap it up today. Which Brewers rookie has impressed you the most? Escobar, Lucroy, Kane, or Axford? And just type in the corresponding letter. Send your text to 234-234. We'll give you the final results. Brewers Live postgame today. Always good to catch up with Bob Costas. Always outspoken.
Yeah.
And he's here doing a piece on the commissioner this weekend. He will not be at the event on Tuesday as they unveil the statue. But Bob did say he'll be returning to Wisconsin in late October for a Packers game.
Yeah, some football work that he does, and there aren't too many, broadcasters anywhere that are more smooth in delivery than Bob Costas.
Kind of makes you afraid to talk yourself,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Kind of intimidating. You don't want to say the wrong thing. But no, he's a good guy. We see him quite a bit in St. Louis. Comes and visits the booth. And always good to catch up with Bob. He knows the sports that he covers, that's for sure.
That's so funny. He brought up the 07 commentary when he was in our booth. And Bonds was down in the clubhouse because it was right after that. I believe the Sports Illustrated article came out, and then the quotes from Bonds. And Bonds was pretty tough on Bob Costas. And, it was Bob Costas who was kind of at the forefront of this steroid issue. And he said as much on Roger Clemens going back into the early 90s, as a matter of fact. And a lot of the things that he said then, talking nearly 20 years, they are starting to come true and come into a truer light.
It was something. It was about an hour ago or before the game, and out in the hallway is Bob Costas, Dick Enberg, and Bob Bucher having a chat. That was a photo op right there.
Strike called. Manny Parra rings up Chris DeNorfia, second out of the inning. Third strikeout for Manny.
And Manny's throwing well. Through 4 innings, he's made the 2 mistakes with the homers, but that's been it. He's got good command of the fastball, and he's keeping the pitches down, this splitter down in the zone.
Greg Council's in our AT&T trivia today. Which team has Council played the most games for in his career? Game number 1500 here today. It's a milestone for Council. And right on cue, Council makes a nice play to win the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Good inning for Parra. Still 2-0 Padres. Solo home runs for San Diego. Adrian Gonzalez and Chase Headley. Gonzalez came in the first, Headley's in the second. Meanwhile, John Garland has pitched out of some trouble here today. The Brewers have left 5 runners on base through the first 3 innings. A Cousins subs game reset. Good crowd on hand today at Miller Park on a beautiful Sunday for baseball. Summer is winding down. We want to tip our hat to all the teachers watching the broadcast. They're in getting their classrooms ready, and school for most Wisconsin students will be starting September 1st, or right around the first week of September. It takes a lot of work, and we want to acknowledge all the teachers who are watching in today, and thank you for teaching our kids. Just like our stats man, Mike Faulkner. He's getting his classroom ready.
Yeah. Double duty coming up.
Airing up all the kickballs.
So he gets to show up late again.
He better not. Casey McGee leads off. He'll be followed by Kane, then Dickerson. John Garland pitched around a jam in the first by striking out McGee. Brewers had 2 on with 2 out. And Garland picked up the K to end the inning. He's been tough. He's thrown a lot of different pitches for strikes. He has walked 3 batters, which is unusual for Garland. But he's been able to make the right pitch when he's needed to.
Yep, sinker, cutter, curveball, and changeup for John Garland. He got Casey on the curveball. Got a good overhand curveball going straight down to go with that sinker.
And a curveball bounce over to third. Headley, nice easy hop. 1 away in the 4th.
Hey ladies, Baseball Basics for Women presented by Associated Bank is August 28th. Learn all about the Brewers baseball operation for women in the organization during this fun day-long event. For details, visit brewers.com/basics or call 414-902-4424. Joe England and his wife will be at that. All right, a little bit of a Q&A along with Ken Maka. I will be moderating that portion of the day's festivities.
Keep it lively, Brock. Keep it lively.
Oh, yeah. We'll get them going.
Will Alita Mercer be making an appearance?
I guarantee Alita. Talking about women in sports. She's highly regarded as an executive here in this organization.
Powerful. Powerful woman.
And not a better person there could be. And oddly enough, coincidentally, she's our boss.
She's our boss.
So, yeah, Alita's awesome.
The best ever.
But she is.
And we mean it. Kane quickly down, a ball and 2 strikes. The Brewers have just 2 hits. Fielder doubled in the first inning. That cost the Brewers a run, actually. He bounced 1 out. If it stays in the park, Braun would have scored easily. Gonzalez makes a play, flips it to Garland for out number 2. So our Subway trivia has to do with Craig Counsell. I beg your pardon, AT&T trivia. Which team has Craig Counsell played the most games for? And our AT&T trivia answer: the Arizona Diamondbacks tops the list, 664. Then the Brewers, and then the Marlins, briefly with the Dodgers, and the team he came up with, the Colorado Rockies. One of his most famous moments is as a Florida Marlin, however, scoring the World Series winning run, season winning run. I think that game was called by Bob Costas, if I'm not mistaken. Dickerson comes up with a base hit. Everybody talks about that run that Counsell scored to win the World Series in '97, but it was his sacrifice fly that actually forced the game into extra innings in the first place.
Yep, off of Jose Mesa. A young Craig Counsell driving in a big run for those Florida Marlins.
"13 years ago. Counsell also has a World Series ring from the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he was the NLCS MVP in 2001, the year they beat the Yankees.
Yeah, actually, Craig's father, John, has that one. Craig gave that, one of his World Series rings to his dad.
Oh, is that right?
How about that?
Former Brewer employee.
Right, John. His mother, Jan.
Craig Counsell was born the year the Brewers franchise began, 1970. Just turned 40 years of age yesterday.
got another year in him, I would think.
Well, he's been an effective pinch hitter. He still has that spot that most don't as utility infielders. He can play short. Lucroy sends one to center field. So back-to-back hits from the bottom of the order, and if nothing else, it'll clear the pitcher spot here in the 4th inning.
And a good piece of hitting by Dickerson to slice one into left field, and now Jonathan able to rip one back through the middle. Continues to get his hits, keeps that batting average up there. That fastball fairly straight, outer half, not much movement on it, up in the zone, and Lucroy hammers it. It's good extension and just out of the reach of Eckstein.
Now we'll see if Parra can do some damage here in the 4th. 2 outs, 2 on, and a 2-0 San Diego lead. And Parra pops it up. Foul territory for Hundley, and the side is retired. But the Brewers get a couple of hits. They strand 2 more, still 2-0 San Diego.
By a pair heading into the 5th. Time to catch up with some news and notes from around baseball. Some significant injuries to report. Steven Strasburg, the Washington Nationals phenom, left the game after striking out Raul Ibanez. His 6th strikeout to open the 5th inning last night. Left with a flexor tendon strain. Is undergoing an MRI today. We'll have more on that later, we hope. Alex Rodriguez on the DL with a strained calf muscle. That makes the Yankees nervous. And guys, how about this Sox-Royals doubleheader? How much food do you think was consumed in the press box during that game?
Yeah, they ran out of peanuts, we heard, from the scribes. I think they missed deadline last night.
And a day game today.
Day game, a quick turnaround for the White Sox and the Royals. Matter of fact, that game is tied at 2. They're in the 5th inning. Zach Greinke's on the mound for Kansas City today. The White Sox keeping themselves in the picture as best they can. Minnesota Twins are leading the Central Division in the American League. Starts late today. Minnesota has a 4-game lead over the White Sox, who won the back end of that doubleheader last night. They had a tough loss in the first game, too. Did you catch the call of that game last night? There was a moment in the first game. Speaking of broadcasters, because we had Bob Costas up here.
Yeah.
So the Hawk, Ken Harrelson, He's getting a little agitated now. This game's
Right.
going long. It's raining.
Right.
Extra innings.
Getting
they had
tired.
They had it won. And poor Brett Lillibridge kind of got his feet tangled at second base on a ball in the gap. He should have scored on the play. And so the Hawk, he's not calling the play. He's barking at Lillibridge. Dadgummit! He's yelling at him in the middle of the play. And the Hawk, he couldn't have been happy with Brett Lillibridge last night. Poor guy. Well, we feel for the Lillibridge family. But he did not score, and the Royals would go on to win the game.
Yeah, I saw some of the highlights this morning. I tape the highlight shows every night and then watch them, in the morning or during the day before I come to the ballpark, just to catch up. But I got to tell you, I wasn't watching baseball when I got home last night. Oddly enough.
Why not?
I just didn't think that would be a good idea.
And you still got a ring on your finger today, which is a good sign.
Yes, sir. Rented a movie. Our wonderful Time Warner cable. Movies on demand in HD. Solves a lot of problems at home.
And what was your choice last night? Huh?
We decided to go a little bit lighthearted, date night.
Sounds like a chick flick.
Steve Carell. Not many funnier than that guy.
Rock offering a movie review. You would recommend that on your...
You don't think he's funny?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. I don't know if he was as funny as Ken Harrelson last night. I really don't. Because that was funny.
We've all been there.
The Hawkaroo.
That's why it's funny, right? Because we've been there.
He says what we all think at times, right?
Right.
Well, John Garland up there to bunt with the speedy Luis Durango at first base. Not the guy you want to be walking to start an inning. And it's 0-2. Parra is going to need some help if he is going to pick up his first win since July 3rd. As Garland bunts it foul, a strikeout for Manny Parra. That's his fourth strikeout. And one out with a runner at first.
Yeah, Sunday, August 29th is CC Sabathia All-Fan Bobblehead Day here at Miller Park as the Brewers take on the Pirates at 1:10. In celebration of the 40th anniversary of Brewers baseball, all fans in attendance will get a bobblehead commemorating CC Sabathia securing the final out of the regular season finale playoff clinching game in 2008. Compliments of Palermo's Pizza and Piggly Wiggly.
It's a very dramatic expression captured on the bobblehead. I'm sure the young children will understand. But when you see the picture, the image from that moment, that's exactly what he looked like.
One of the best days I've ever had in baseball.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a great day.
The day the Brewers beat the Cubs and the Mets, about a half an hour later lost to the Marlins, and with 40,000 plus still in the ballpark watching that game on the Jumbotron,
that was
erupted.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Sabathia pitching today for the Yankees. He's been everything the Yankees asked and more. Pitched him to a World Series title last season. And he's working on a shutout today through 6 innings, although they're in a rain delay right now.
You know, if you're going to give any pitcher a long-term contract, CC Sabathia would be one that you would have no problem doing it.
The most unassuming big game superstar pitcher I've ever met.
Yeah, agreed.
You didn't know if it was Sabathia's day to start or if he was between starts, the way he conducted himself. Lucroy's throw sails into center field. Durango has a steal.
And he would have had him too. Didn't have a very good jump. Jonathan tried to get rid of it very quickly because Durango can run, but didn't have a good jump. A good throw gets him easily at second base. Look how quick. Sometimes you can be too quick. And the ball gets out of his hand a little bit too soon. No chance for Counsell. And Durango gets the stolen base. Yeah, let one get away. He knew he had him.
And now a walk to Eckstein. So getting into the third time of the batting order for Parra. And we'll see if he can push through here. The Brewers have not had a lot of success with their starting pitchers in this series, and yet they've won the first 2 games of this series.
And oddly enough, the longest start of the series has been this one today. Yeah, Manny, his first 2 walks of the game have come in this inning.
Parra with 4 strikeouts. And here comes Rick Peterson. Brewers pitching coach will have a word with Parra.
This is the point in the ball game where Manny ordinarily struggles. Third time through the batting order. You know, 5th, 6th innings have been a challenge for him lately. His last 4 starts, he has not been able to get out of the 6th.
It's been a point of focus. We had a chance to ask Manny Parra about the third time through the batting order and this part of the game. Here's what he had to say.
I go into the 6th inning and I'm still making pitches. I mean, I'm executing the pitch that we want to make. In certain situations, they're getting hits. The problem is after that, try to, be fine or try to locate pitches, and guy gets on and the inning, through a walk or whatever, and the inning seems to get tough.
Manny Parra, his thoughts from yesterday about this part of the game, and Parra's not alone. He and Chris Narveson. It's been a point of emphasis all year with Rick Peterson to try to push through the third time through the batting order. And that's a challenge for any starting pitcher, and that's what separates great starting pitchers from so-so starting pitchers.
And it's all about not dwelling on making a bad pitch or a hitter hitting a good pitch. Not worrying about that. Forget about it. And just continue to press on.
He could use a ground ball right here. That would get him out of the inning. Lucroy blocks it.
Concentrate on what is about to happen, what is going to happen, and not worry, and don't spend any time thinking about what just happened before that. It's a tough thing to do in baseball, but that's what the good ones, the really good ones, are able to do. Put it behind you, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher. And I think a lot of that has to do with confidence. Got to have confidence to be able to do that, to believe that you're better than what you had just done.
Little roller to third. McGee's only play is first, and Tejada grounds out.
Good pitch by Manny. Took a little off through the splitter, and he got Tejada to beat it into the ground.
Well, now what do you do if you're the Brewers? You have a matchup with a lefty pitcher versus a lefty hitter, but the numbers don't really play out that way for Manny Parra. And Gonzalez is one of the best hitters in the game. But Parra's opponent batting average against left-handed hitters, .359. He's actually been better against right-handers.
Yeah, it's going down. I mean, he was as high as .390 a few starts ago.
Gonzalez homered off Parra in the first inning and is now 9 for 16 with 2 career home runs against Manny. So with a base open at first, they'll go after him. Or at least they'll try to get Gonzalez to chase.
Somewhat of a telling sign when you start him off with a splitter.
And the danger in trying to get Gonzalez to chase a pitch, he rarely does that anyway. But then you run the risk of the wild pitch that allows a run to score.
You see, Jonathan, what he was doing there was he was making sure that all the divots in front of home plate are gone just in case that ball ends up in the dirt.
And then he tells Adrian Gonzalez, but we're not thinking about throwing a splitter here. You should sit on a high fastball. Let me just clean this area up around the home
I'm just filling in this hole here for just to kill time.
Just for posterity. That almost got away. Might as well just put him on here. Got a base open at first.
Yeah, Manny much better against right-handers. Why not? I mean, it goes against the book, but you can throw out the book when you're facing Adrian Gonzalez. Don't make a mistake.
And Gonzalez is hitting for a better average against lefties. So both ways it goes against the book. And he throws him a strike.
Manny, a 360 opponent batting average at 359 coming in against right-handers. Only 269. So a big difference.
He will challenge the big slugger. And a fastball missed. 3 balls, 1 strike on Gonzalez. Ryan Ludwig is on deck. That's really the difference in this Padres lineup now. You've got a bona fide home run threat hitting after Gonzalez. Because a month ago it's a guaranteed walk in a spot like this. Way inside, ball 4. The 3rd walk of the inning. And now the bases are loaded for Ludwig.
Well, they kind of made their intentions known with that pitch right there, a split-fingered fastball to start the at-bat. First base open. Gonzalez, their best hitter. He's good against lefties. Manny struggles against lefties, and you wonder why you just don't, stand up and give him 4 pitches out of the zone and intentionally walk him. But he didn't chase, and they're going to have to go after Ludwig anyway.
So this is a key moment in this game. The Padres lead 2-0. Bases loaded for Ludwig, and he swings and misses. Took something off. Hara struck out Ludwig on that same pitch back in the 1st inning.
Getting a little bit dicey out there to see right now. This is when it's the toughest on the hitter, which means it's tough on the umpire and tough on the catcher as well.
Ludwig has just 1 hit in this series. That came last night in the 1st inning. That was a double. Good play by Lucroy. Good thing he smoothed out that area behind home plate.
Yeah, Jonathan's really worked hard. I talked to him before the game about his, improvement in blocking pitches in the dirt, and he has done a nice job here today against Manny. Manny 2nd in the National League in wild pitches with that split-fingered fastball.
Ludwig down the right field line. That is slicing. That is a fair ball. Big trouble here. 1 run is in. A 2nd run scores. Gonzalez ends up at 3rd. And Ryan Ludwig delivers 2 on a double down the right field line. It's 4-0 San Diego.
Well, the fastball, they weren't able to get it by him, and he slices it down that line. Good piece of hitting by Ludwig, not trying to pull it. Waiting back, pitch up and outer half, and able to keep the hands in and rip it down the right field line. And the only reason Gonzalez wasn't able to score, he doesn't run all that well. Ordinarily, that's going to clear the bases. And Durango and Eckstein able to score.
Now the walks come back to hurt Parra. 3 walks in the inning. 2 of them have scored. Still 2 out. And here is Chase Headley, who homered against Manny in the 2nd. Starts it with a curveball for a strike. Slow roll to 3rd. McGee on the run. Low throw, but fielders got it. The inning is over. But the Padres strike. Ludwig drives in a pair with a double, and it's 4-0. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by GMC, we are professional grade. And today's Tavern of the Game winner is Boomer Sports Pub and Grill in Pewaukee. If the Tavern Contact calls the Brewers in the next 24 hours at 414-902-4572, Boomer Sports Pub and Grill will receive 40 Miller Lite beer pin tickets at a 2010 or 11 April or May Milwaukee Brewers home game. And this offer is courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and
Miller Lite. Well done.
And Ricky Weeks delivers with a base hit to start the fifth.
Is that your first time doing a Tavern?
Might have been, actually.
You did well. That looked like some type of breaking pitch. It didn't do a whole lot and ate up Chase Headley down there at third base. So a good start to the fifth. Brewers need to get something going. First two games of this series, the Brewers pounded out 25 hits and 16 runs against the best pitching staff. When you talk about earned run average in the National League, did a nice job of it, collecting their fifth hit with Ricky's single.
Now Craig Counsell with a runner at first base. 4-0 Padres. Counsell singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. John Garland working on a shutout through 4 innings, but he's had a lot of base runners behind him. The Brewers without that big hit. Milwaukee stranded 7 already through the first 4. Garland split time last year between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Sent to Los Angeles for the stretch run last season. He was in the postseason with the White Sox in 05. Won a game in the ALCS against the Angels. Had a start in the World Series. He pitched well in his start against Houston in the World Series. Did not factor in a decision, but he went 7 innings and just 2 earned runs.
Yeah, John Garland, the old man of this pitching staff. Or at least the starting rotation at age 30.
That's right. They're led by Matt Latos, terrific rookie pitcher who is among league leaders in ERA. Counsell trying to get Braun to the plate with some men on base. Brewers are down 4. Roy Oswalt still working on a shutout in Philadelphia today. He's in the 7th inning. It's 4-0 Phillies. The other big trade, Cliff Lee, the big name trade, struggled yesterday. Cliff Lee got hit hard again by the Orioles. It's the second time Baltimore has roughed up the Rangers ace. As Counsell is rung up. First out of the inning, Garland went to the back door and picks up a strikeout.
Looked like a pretty good pitch. A sinker right on the outside corner. A little too close to take. And Hundley holding it right on the corner for Tom Hallion.
Ringing up Craig Counsell as if he enjoyed it.
And getting back to Cliff Lee, it's amazing how some teams just have a certain advantage or see the baseball against certain pitchers. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles, 32.5 games behind the Yankees. They're 44 wins this year. and just have a knack of putting together good at bats on Cliff Lee.
That's twice they've beaten Lee.
Man,
as a Ranger. Looks like a different club though under Buck Showalter. I mean, they're playing fundamentally sound. They've actually played winning baseball under their new manager. One of the many managerial jobs that were vacant. Showalter fills that one in Baltimore, but so many jobs are going to be available next season. Could be up to as many as 10, 11 managerial positions opening up.
Yeah. The Cubs now need a manager.
They need a manager tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Lou Piniella said he's had enough. He said he was going to retire at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's been a rough year over there. Yeah, the North Siders.
Mike Quaddy will take over to manage the Cubs the rest of the season.
Yep, they're trading away just about all of their team. The guys that they can trade anyway.
Former Cubs dotting pennant races everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure there are many players still on the Cubs that Jim Henry would like to be able to trade but cannot. Saddled with huge contracts.
1 ball, 1 strike to Braun. Garland checks on Weeks. Brewers need a quick strike here. Get the crowd back into it. So far being shut out on a 5-hitter from Garland. Best chance to score for the Crew was in the first. Fielder ripped one into left center. Braun was at first. There were 2 outs. He was running all the way. Would have scored easily, but the ball bounced up and out for a ground rule double, and Braun was sent back to third base. Braun hits that one hard. Deep left center field. Did he get enough? You bet. Ryan Braun with a 2-run homer. And there's the quick strike you're looking for. Number 18 for Braun. And the Brewers are on the board in the 5th. It's 4-2 Padres.
Oh, home run hitters, they usually hit them in bunches, and Ryan Braun's starting to put together some pretty good at-bats. 2 walks today, now a home run, a breaking ball that Ryan stayed back nicely on. Boy, he covers the plate so well. Able to get down on it, got it on the sweet spot, and look at the form on the right. Head straight down that stiff front leg, and that ball just flies out of here in a hurry into that Brewers bullpen.
And that home run ends the consecutive scoreless inning streak for John Garland at 21 1/3. Fielder gets under one. Looking up into the sun, DeNorfia makes a catch for out number 2. Ryan Braun now with 121 career home runs, and this is the top 10 list for most home runs to start a career in the first 4 seasons. Ralph Kiner leads this list, had a 50-homer season in the middle of that run. And then the great names, Pujols, Eddie Matthews, the former Milwaukee Brave. Now Braun is 1 away from the top 10 as he sends one out of here at Miller Park, his 2nd home run in as many days.
Except for the active players, everyone on that list a Hall of Famer.
Braun with 18 home runs, 72 RBIs now. Third home run in this game today. Knocks the glove off of Garland. He recovers and throws McGee out. Casey, a bad break. Garland gets out of the inning, but Ryan Braun tightens it up here at Miller Park. Braun with a 2-run homer. It's 4-2 Friars. 2-run homer to get him back in the game. And Milwaukee leading the National League in home runs, 147. They've hit 13 of those 147 over the last 15 games. It's actually been a bit of a home run drought for the Brewers, but they use the long ball to get back in, and it's 4-2 as Braun homers in consecutive games. And the first runs that John Garland has given up in over 21 innings. Now it's up to Manny Parra to try to keep the Padres down. Chris Tenorfia leads off here in the 6th.
I think the Brew Crew has 53 home runs in him in 39 games. That's a tall task right there. Yeah, to get to 200.
Well, it's game 123. Check it, 124 today, and they've hit 147. So it's possible.
Yeah.
And they've been in a little bit of a, as I said, a home run drought. So maybe they're due for a big run of home runs.
Yeah, that was the math I just did. Did you notice?
Can you give me the numbers again, Ron? I wasn't expecting you to come up with statistics.
Doing ciphering.
Slow roller. McGee cuts it off. Throws on the run. He's patented that play today. That happens a lot with Manny Parra on the mound. That split finger fastball. You get a lot of those swinging bunts
out in front, and you beat it in front of home plate. That's what develops those little divots in the ground that Jonathan was trying to smooth over. Ball hits one of those little potholes right there. You see where it hit? Right around that chalk of the batter's box. And sometimes it will make a mark, and if a pitch hits that, it will go straight up, making it more difficult to block it.
Got to repair your ball marks.
So it's
good etiquette.
You might want to carry one of those things. Is that legal, you think?
There's one right there.
Yeah.
The little pitchfork. Be more like raking a bunker, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I've never been in a bunker.
He only goes in to take his ball out of it.
Flip it on the green.
And he says, this here looks like a ground under repair, doesn't it?
Yeah, just flip it on the green and just throw up some sand.
Right.
Nice shot, Rock.
Thank you. Now, Manny Parra picks up another strikeout. That's his 5th. Say Ashley Kumlin is taking on what only 12 women have ever done, crossing the U.S. on foot. And she's doing it to raise awareness and money for multiple sclerosis, a disease her mother has been fighting for the past 27 years. And you can follow Ashley on her journey, MS Run the U.S. Learn about her plan, how to donate, and the nationwide tribute to her mom. Follow her trek by watching Brewers baseball throughout the season and by logging on to foxsportswisconsin.com. We saw Ashley in Milwaukee on the last homestand. She started in San Francisco, so she's inching her way step by step closer to New York, where she'll finish up her walk. Luis Durango batting for the 3rd time. Parra ran into trouble last inning of the 5th when he walked Durango to start the inning. And Durango stole a base in that inning. Parra had 3 walks in the 5th. 2 of them scored.
Yep, the only walks of the game for Manny. Kind of reminds you a little bit of what happened to Chris Narveson in that 4th inning last night. I mean, throwing very well, all of a sudden just could not find home plate.
Now, this is the batter you want. You'd love to have the starting pitcher lead off the next inning, or at least a pinch hitter if it goes that way.
These are the kind of hitters that you just throw strikes to because they're not going to normally take you out of the ballpark. Worst case scenario, you get an extra base hit, and then you have the pitcher coming up. The last thing you want to do is walk him.
Full count to Durango. Walked him again. So 4 walks for Parra, all coming in the last 2 innings. And we'll see if Durango is on the move here with the pitcher at the plate, Garland.
You know, when you steal bases like Durango, I mean, you really can throw out the normal philosophy of don't steal bases with the pitcher up, because you don't want the pitcher leading off the next inning. But that's his game. That's the way he plays the game. He runs.
And Garland hits a little bit too for a pitcher. He has 8 hits this year. 8 for 45 now with his 0 for 2 today. He's batting .178.
And you don't expect Garland to give you a gapper, so you get a man in scoring position and maybe a bleeder through the infield scores a run. But if you take off, you better make it. You don't want to make the third out with the pitcher at the plate.
Into center field, a base hit. So a single for the pitcher, John Garland. 2 quick outs for Parra. He gives up a walk and a hit at the bottom of the order. Now he'll have to deal with David Eckstein.
Fastball right down the middle. Probably should have did that to Durango, but he walked him, and now Garland, the pitcher, with a base hit. Top of the order coming up. Right down the middle. Garland put a pretty good swing on it.
His 9th hit of the year. So Eckstein is up with 2 on. 4-2 San Diego. And that one's lined into left field. Braun coming in. Durango has great speed on his way to the plate, and he's in there. And just like that, the Padres score. A walk and back-to-back hits, and it's 5-2 Padres.
Yeah, the thing that drives Rick Peterson, Ken Maka crazy about Manny is what has happened in this 6th inning. 2 outs, throwing the baseball well. You get to Norfrey and Hundley. You walk Durango, the 8th hitter. A base hit by the pitcher, and the first pitch, David Eckstein lines it into left field. And the Padres get one of their runs back. The ability to put away the opponent in an inning. Had a couple of chances to do it after the walk.
Now Tejada with Gonzalez on deck, and Todd Coffey beginning to stretch out in the bullpen. That's into left and well hit. Braun is back, and it's off the base of the wall. Garland will score. Here comes Eckstein. He'll score, and it's a 2 RBI double for Tejada. The Padres have a 7-2 lead, and all of this with 2 outs.
And another fastball. Miguel Tejada looking for it. It was a 1-0 pitch. And where did this inning go? Ken Maka wondering the same. There it is. And Tejada able to center on it, rip it over the head of Ryan Braun, the base of the wall, and Eckstein scores from first base. Hit that one hard.
Well, now Parra will deal with Gonzalez. 4 consecutive base runners, all with 2 outs. And Gonzalez sends one deep to left. Back is Braun. At the wall, he's got it for the out. Close call. The inning is over, but the Padres had 3 runs with 2 away in the inning, and it's 7-2.
run. Then was Chase Headley giving the Padres a 2-0 lead. Big offense for the Padres that we have not seen yet in this series. A line drive by Ryan Ludwig to give the Padres a 4-0 lead. Ryan Braun, his 18th of the year, ends up in the Brewers bullpen. The Brewers back within 2 runs, but with 2 outs and nobody on, 4 consecutive base runners, including Miguel Tejada double, to score 2, and the Padres up by 5. So just like that, the Brewers are within 2 runs, and the Padres get them right back.
San Diego has scored 5 of their 7 runs in the last 2 innings. As we go to the bottom of the 6th at Miller Park. The Brewers will take tomorrow off. It's a team off day, and then they'll resume the homestand Tuesday. The Dodgers are coming to town. Now Manny Ramirez is back on the roster. He's played last night, been out with a calf injury. There's a lot of reports today that Manny Ramirez might be involved in a trade prior to the waiver wire trade deadline, which is coming up at the end of this month. In order to be eligible for the postseason, an acquired player has to be on the roster by September 1st. So there still might be some activity.
Get him over to an American League ball club where he can DH. Well, he's had so many injuries the last couple of years that have kept him on a disabled list. Maybe not able to play the outfield any longer. Not on a regular basis anyway.
Lorenzo Cain over to third base, and Headley makes a play for the out. Say a reminder, you can log on to foxsportswisconsin.com for all the latest news, stories, interviews, and coverage of the Green Bay Packers, the Badgers, and the Brewers. Plus, you can see exclusive video and hear from Trevor Hoffman and his son as they took a little batting practice together this week. foxsportswisconsin.com, local teams, local sports, local connections, all dedicated to the hometown fan.
Yeah, taking him right back through the middle. I like that hack. Well done.
Say happy birthday to Brody Hoffman. He celebrated a birthday while the Brewers were on the road. That's a good chance for Trevor to reconnect with his brother Glenn, who's the third base coach of the Padres. And for Glenn to see the family, they're a tight group, those Hoffmans. Getting back to the Manny Ramirez story, though, the St. Petersburg Times reporting that the Rays and the White Sox reportedly have some interest in Manny Ramirez. They have to clear waivers, of course, take on the contract, and then work out a trade. And as Doug Melvin was pointing out the other day here in the booth, that a lot of teams in contention will block trades via the waiver wire deal. They may not necessarily want the player, but they'll make sure they claim the player on waivers so the other team doesn't. As Dickerson comes up with another hit. It's the third time he's been on today, and he's having a good run for the Brewers the last 2 days.
And the only risk that you run when you claim a player, you might have to take him. And you might not want him. You might just want to, take the opportunity away from another team to grab him, and you might be stuck with him. Remember that Randy Myers situation many years ago with the Padres?
That's right.
Ended up with 2 closers. Just out of the reach of Eckstein.
Wouldn't you love to tap into some of those conversations between general managers, just to hear the bartering that's going on with players?
Now, Myers ended up, Toronto, didn't he? Didn't they have 2 closers? They had a closer already. I forget what that situation was, but every time you hear about these waivers and players being claimed off of waivers by a team to block a trade or block an opportunity for somebody else, his name always comes up.
The Randy Myers deal.
I think he ended up in San Diego.
That's where he finished his career.
Right.
Padres. He's one of the nasty boys with the Reds. Lou Pinella's World Series team. He did finish his career with, well, he thought he was finishing his career with Toronto.
Right.
And then traded from Toronto to San Diego. That was an August deal of '98, so it was in the waiver period. Good memory, Rock.
Yeah.
Were you ever a waiver wire transaction, Rock?
I don't believe so.
How'd you get from the Brewers to the Angels?
I got traded for Gus Polidor.
Oh, Gus.
That was an off-season winter of '89 deal.
And how were you notified?
I don't recall.
Candygram?
I think somebody called me.
I remember that story Mike Cameron tells when he was traded from the White Sox to the Reds for Paul Konerko.
Right.
He was playing winter ball down in the Dominican.
Right.
He read the bottom line scroll on CNN.
See, they didn't have that back when I got traded. They had no internet.
No internet.
Well,
that was before Al Gore came along. I guess.
It was no cell phones.
No cell phones.
I mean, I think they had what they called a car phone that looked like one of those Army walkie-talkies.
How in the world did we communicate?
Yeah, I know. It was nice back then. You could actually hide.
No hiding for Tom Hallion.
No.
Gets drilled by foul tip.
Nowadays with the internet and the texting and the tweeting and all that kind of stuff, I mean, that stuff spreads around very quickly.
News travels faster than ever. And that's the world we live in. And it's a world that the general managers of Major League Baseball have to be very conscious of. When they make a player move or a transaction, the Chris Dickerson deal comes to mind. Chris Dickerson traded to the Reds for Jim Edmonds, vice versa, from the Reds for Jim Edmonds. And Ryan Braun knew about it. He knew that Edmonds had cleared waivers. Kind of talked about it. He was lockering nearby to Jim Edmonds. They discussed it. All of a sudden he sends Dickerson a text. Yeah, I think you're coming to Milwaukee. And 2 days later it happened. So it wasn't such a surprise for him. Gregerson, the right-hander, Joe Thatcher, the lefty, in the bullpen. I think the one thing general managers fear the most is when they're going to make a transaction, not necessarily a trade, but maybe move a player down, that player somehow finds out about it and comes up with an injury to stay on the big league roster.
Right. Yeah, get the big league time, get the big league salary.
They might want that player to go continue his process down in the minor leagues, continue.
I think players have the ability to see that stuff coming long before any technology you have to tell them about it.
Let's see. 0 for my last 16. I haven't played in a week. Yeah, my hammy's a little tight.
Yeah, somebody's coming off the disabled list. Yeah. My shoulder hurts.
It really has. It's been aching for a while. I've been trying to play through it, though. Lucroy into right. That's going to fall a base hit. So Jonathan Lucroy singles his second hit. Brewers are getting some production from the bottom of their order. And again, an opportunity at a quick strike here to get back into this game.
Yeah, Dickerson, Lucroy, they've been on 5 times. The lion's share of the base hits. 4 of the base hits, 4 of the 8 for Milwaukee, and that just slices it. A little bit of a jam shot and dumps it into right field. Got it back in the hitting zone just a little bit. Not quite on the sweet spot, but got the job done.
Bud Black will take the ball from John Garland. And he's going to go with the lefty. Joe England announces the pinch hitter. Garland is out. He's looking for his 13th win of the year. He leaves with the lead, but the Brewers threatening. We'll take a timeout. Troops in our Armed Forces Network broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world today. We welcome all of them watching the broadcast, and maybe even your son-in-law watching today.
I know Perry King over in Bagram, Afghanistan, over at the Air Force Base over there. I know he's watching, big Brewer fan. He's coming home in a couple of weeks, 2-week leave. That's going to be a nice time.
Yeah, that's great.
So, we are looking forward to your return.
John Garland's numbers: 2 runs at this point and 5 1/3. He's out. And here's Joe England pinch hitting with 1 away. Joe Thatcher is the new Padre pitcher.
Yeah, Thatcher threw a scoreless 2/3 of an inning last night, backing up Kevin Correa. Gave up a base hit. The only left-hander down in that Padres bullpen.
England into right, falling fast. Ludwig will watch it bounce, and the bases are loaded. Joe England, the Major League's best pinch hitter, delivers another one. That's his 18th of the year.
And not wasting any time. First pitch, and Joe didn't hit it all that well, but not sure what Ludwig was doing. That ball up in the air a long time, got it down on the handle just a bit. It looked like Ludwig had that ball, but just kind of gave up on it. Didn't want it to get by him, and that's going to be it for Thatcher. I thought that ball was going to be caught. But Ludwig played it on a hop, and the Brewers had the bases loaded with only 1 out. Top of the order coming up.
Well, the Padres in a pennant race, and Bud Black will make the change here. They have one of the best bullpens in baseball, and they're going to be unveiled here at Miller Park. We'll take a break. Hall of Famer Bob Uecker will MC the ceremony, which promises to be a great tribute to one of the great commissioners in baseball. And the commissioner's likeness will join statues of Henry Aaron, Robin Yount, all outside the Miller Park area, home plate area. Join us as we honor Commissioner Selig, who brought baseball back to Milwaukee in 1970.
And Luke Gregerson making his first appearance of the series. 61 appearances. Look at the holds for Luke Gregerson. He's closing in on a major league record in that category. 71 punch-outs in just shy of 60 innings. This guy's been pretty good.
Now the three at the back of the Padres bullpen, as good as it gets in the National League this year. Gregerson, Mike Adams, and Heath Bell. So the Brewers are trying to cash in the sixth. Bases loaded for Weeks. And a strike from Gregerson.
And Gregerson, another guy with a big sinker. Got to make sure, at least try to get him to get one up in the strike zone early in the count. Last thing you want here is a ground ball and turn a double play.
Weeks has never had a grand slam in his career. Be a good time for one here. 7-2 San Diego. Padres scored 3 in the top of this inning. The Brewers trying to answer. Bouncer back to the mound, to the plate for one. Hundley fires a double play, and the Padres are out of the inning. 1, 2, 3 double play for San Diego. And just like that, the rally is snuffed out. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. And in the Miller Lite, what's on tap? The Brewers will take tomorrow off. Back on the air Tuesday as the Dodgers come to town. I should say Tuesday, not tomorrow. Fox Sports Wisconsin for the first 2 games of that series. Thursday will be a radio-only game against the Dodgers. And then the Pirates come to town. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? Todd Coffey is on to pitch. Manny Parra started, went 6 innings, gives up 7 runs, and is on the hook for the loss. And now Coffey in for the 7th.
As we talked about when we came on the air today, the Brewers bullpen has been very, very good last week and a half, and particularly good in this series. Eating up over 11 innings in the first 2 games and allowing only 2 runs. 2 runs and 5 hits in that stretch for the Brewers pen.
And in the last 2 games, wins have come from Brewers relievers. Mike McClendon with his first major league win yesterday, a milestone for McClendon. And Chris Capuano picked up his 2nd win of the season back on Friday. Ryan Ludwig had a big hit for the Friars in the 5th. He drove in 2 with a double. That was with 2 out. Manny Parra was so close to getting through some big innings. But San Diego scoring their last 5 runs over the last 2 innings, and all of them coming with 2 outs in the inning. And another frustrating start for Manny.
In those 2 innings, it's been fastballs that weren't where he wanted them, down the middle. Ludwig whistling one down the right field line. Eckstein and Tejada got some fastballs down the middle. He had a really good splitter today. He really did a nice job with that pitch, but the mistakes he made were with the fastball.
Ludwig leans out, pokes one to right. And Dickerson brings it in for the first out. So I want to say hello to James DeBrew. He is at Frederick Hospital right now, recovering from surgery. James' son John is here at the ballpark today. Wanted to send out his best. Son John is down behind the Brewers dugout cheering him on. So we wish you well, James. Hope you get better real soon. Sun beating down. That's a good way to keep it off you a little bit. Chase Headley with one away. Headley homered in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3. Fielder scoops it up. Nice play. Out number 2. Now the day off tomorrow should be good for Corey Hart. He's still out with a hamstring injury. Talked to Corey before the game today. He said he felt like he could play, but with the day off tomorrow, certainly available to pinch hit if needed, but don't want to push it too much.
You got to be careful of those hamstrings. I mean, they can go from not too much of a deal to a season-long struggle. I mean, hamstrings are a very tricky injury, and you'd rather give them a little bit more on this end than have them miss any extended time if you blow it out.
Now Corey's certainly anxious to play. Love what you hear out of Corey Hart after he signed a contract, the 3-year extension. Corey knows his role with this organization and wants to be out there every day, wants to play. Not happy that the Brewers are shutting him down a little bit. Understands why, but he'd rather play through it. There's a lot of players in this league that at this point of the year kind of looking for the DL. They get tweaked, they get banged up a little bit, and it's a tough part of the baseball schedule at this point when you start getting into game 120, 125.
Everybody's banged up at this point in the year. There's nobody that feels 100%.
Nope.
Everybody feels great the first day of spring training, and then it's downhill from there.
That's right. That's the best you'll feel all year. Right center, Dickerson closing, and he's got it for the out. Inning over. Todd Coffey gives the Brewers a 3-3 down inning. Now it's time for Miller Park's presentation of God Bless America. We turn it over to Rob Edwards.
All of Major League Baseball, as we honor this great nation with the singing of God Bless America, led by
up after going almost a month without a long ball.
Well, I think what's happened, Ryan, is seeing the ball a lot better, a lot more comfortable. The hitters go through little streaks, and he certainly has gone through a power streak. But I think right now, he's really focused in, and he's swinging the bat much, much better. It's good to see him with the long ball now.
All right, he's due up second. Brewers need some more runs here, trailing by 5 in this game. Coming up after the ball game, full post-game coverage. We have Drew Olson on the sidelines. He'll be inside the clubhouse as well. After the ball game, we'll hear from Ken Maka at our on-field instructional with Rock and Davey. Going to be outfield techniques. Looking forward to that, Brian.
Hi, Craig. Davey, thank you. Looking at Ryan Braun's series, he's been on base 10 times in the series. He's taken his walks. He's hit 2 homers. So Craig and Davey commenting on Ryan Braun's success at the plate against the San Diego Padres. And again, we remind you, it's the best pitching staff in the National League statistically.
The Brewers have done a nice job with 2 very good pitching staffs in back-to-back series. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Brewers able to win 2 games there, and they have hit around this pitching staff for San Diego pretty well.
Brewers are a hit away from going 3 straight games with double-digit hit totals. They haven't had the big hit today with runners on, but still 9 hits so far today.
Yeah, 34 hits in 2+ games. This one's not over yet.
The Brewers need a good start from one of their starting pitchers. 2 short starts to start this series, and then Manny Parra giving up 7 runs today in 6 innings. They'll have Dave Bush on Tuesday against Hiroki Kuroda, and then Randy Wolf Wednesday against his old club, the Dodgers. I think Ted Lilly's on the mound for the Dodgers on Wednesday, and then it's back to Gallardo for the finale Thursday of that Dodgers series.
Got to believe Yo just can't wait to get back out on that mound. That was a rough start for Gallardo, something we don't see much of. Happens to everybody.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Counsell. Pulls that one foul. Hey, look at that play down there. The pick. Good hands.
Yeah.
That saved a bruise for somebody. You like to see him get in front and knock it down, but you'll take an Olay every now and then.
And get dirty. Check it out.
Ooh.
Goes down. We saw a nice play down the left field line a couple days ago.
By the ball girl.
Right.
Not to be one-upped. Good job. Counsell down on strikes. Gregerson's tough. Now here comes Braun. Homered his last time up. At the time, it made it a 4-2 Padres lead. Last night, Ryan Braun whistled one into left center field. He hit one that was out in a flash.
That fastball last night, and he got a breaking ball today. Both coming in just about the same spot.
This is earlier today in the 5th. A 2-run homer. And it snapped that consecutive scoreless inning streak for John Garland. So Braun on base 3 times today. At the plate presented by Wendy's. 2 walks and a home run today for Braun, representing the only scoring. By the way, the ball boy down there is Brandon Bresk, who's the son of Lisa Bresk, who works in our corporate marketing department. So making his mom proud. So the Breskis are all happy now. They'd be proud of him even if he missed it.
But he didn't. That's the key. Yeah, Lisa has been with the organization many, many years. Not to say that she's old, but Lisa's been with the organization a while.
Somebody painted himself into a corner.
Yeah, I didn't know quite how to get out of that, but now Tom Hallian gets hit in the mask. How about that?
Would you like to start over?
Lisa has been with the Brewers just about as long as I have. That doesn't help, does it?
She's not old like you are, though.
Right. Certainly doesn't look it.
Lisa Bresky might be good for your conference. When's that coming up? The luncheon?
Baseball basics for women?
On the 28th.
Are you trying to get Lisa to do more than she already does?
I think Lisa would be a good resource. Maybe she will be there. Two and two to Ryan Braun. One away in the 7th. The pitcher, Gregerson, makes the catch for the out. Braun ran into him, carrying his bat. Gregerson makes a play, though. 2 outs in the inning. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, he tried to get out of the way. The interesting thing was Ryan had the glove, just grazed his leg. Had no effect on the play, so no interference.
Padres boast the best lockdown bullpen in the National League for sure, and Gregerson's a big part of it.
Yeah, basically 2-pitch pitcher, fastball slider from Gregerson. Not overpowering. He's got good movement on it, but his slider is his best pitch.
Now, among National League relievers, his opponent batting average is the 4th lowest. Opponents hitting just 168 against Gregerson. He's even better against lefties. Left-handers only hitting 160 against Luke Gregerson.
About 12 walks and 71 strikeouts for Gregerson in 59 2/3 innings.
He's able to give you multiple innings. He can go 2 innings. In this game, he's trying to give Bud Black an inning and 2/3. He came in a spot in the 6th. He gave up a base hit to load the bases, and then got Ricky Weeks on a 1-2-3 double play to get out of the inning. Brewers were trying to fight their way back into this game in that 6th. Fielder draws the walk, the National League leader in that category. So a base runner for Casey McGee.
Speaking of walks, only 12 walks, and he walks the big fella. Now, you understand pitching around Prince, being careful with him, but not with a 5-run lead.
San Diego acquired Gregerson from the Cardinals prior to last season. It was a spring training deal before the 09 season, and they got him for Khalil Green. McGee rolls one to Headley. Inning is over at second base. We go to the 8th at Miller Park in Milwaukee. 7-2 San Diego.
This next front getting in there just in time. So there is at least the threat for a thunderstorm to hang on for the early part of the game. But first pitch temperatures are also mild, back into the 80s.
And fans, if you want the Brewers weather forecast sent right to your phone, text keyword forecast to short code 234234 and click on the link. Forecast right to your phone line, right? Sunny day in Milwaukee today. Beautiful day for baseball. Unfortunately, the Padres have spoiled a bit of the fun so far. It's 7-2 San Diego. We head to the 8th inning. Somebody asked Casey McGee what he'd do if he wasn't a baseball player. He said he'd be a weatherman. Because he wants to do something where you don't have to have a 100% success rate. So he chose baseball because if he's successful 30% of the time, he's considered great. And he figures the next best thing is to be a weatherman. Because you can go 50% of the time, you're right, and be okay.
So he wouldn't want to be an air traffic controller.
No, that's the thing.
Or a surgeon.
Exactly.
I agree with him.
He wants to give himself a little leeway.
That's too much pressure.
Can you imagine Casey McGee doing the weather, though? I really can't.
He's good on camera, though. You've had him on quite a bit.
Terrific. Put him in front of one of those green screens. Hundley fouls it away. A ball and 2 strikes on Nick Hundley. Young Padre catcher. I saw the Pirates beat the Mets today. Zach Duke beat Johan Santana in Pittsburgh. A 2-1 game. 2 solo homers from the Pirates. Lastings Millage and Jose Tabata. Not exactly who you're thinking about against Santana to deliver big power numbers. Well, the Mets, they've really fallen on hard times. They're down to 500 again. They're 62-62.
Yeah. 10 games back.
Astros beat the Marlins today.
Mets are 14 games under 500 away from Citi Field.
They were kind of hanging in there as late as the All-Star break, as a matter of fact. They were just 4.5 back at the break. The Mets are 10 back of the Braves right now. And possibly 11 back at day's end. Coffey picks up a strikeout, and we check in with Drew Olson, who also wanted to be a weatherman at one point.
No way, B.A. Hey, this time of year, it's always fun to watch the guys in the big league clubhouses turn on the Little League World Series. Casey McGee said he likes watching that action. Reminds him of his days as a youth. Well, former Brewers infielder Jose Valentin's son was a star yesterday. Hit 2 home runs in a game for Puerto Rico. Jose's father is the manager of that team, and his brother Javier has a son on the team, too.
Oh, that's great. They had that call overturned. They're using replay in the Little League World Series now. The call was overturned. That's drawing some headlines. These kids are serious, man.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of an instant replay in any sport,
especially Little Leaguers.
Little Leaguers and baseball. I get the boundary calls. We had Bob Costas up here talking about replay. He's in favor of it. Expanding replay. It sounded like, he didn't say that, but his comments led you to believe that he likes to replay and maybe should use it, a little bit more than they do. Did you get that from Bob?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with him. I mean, I feel like an eye in the sky is the next logical step for Major League Baseball. An umpire who sits in the press box or has a special area where he has access to replays and can make a call.
That'd be a good debate for maybe Brewers Live, but I'm not a big fan. The umpires aren't wrong that often.
Back up the middle, a base hit for Durango. You know what's interesting? Just talking to some of the umpires and hearing some interviews with umpires, past umpires. Don Denkinger comes to mind. But there are a lot of umpires that would welcome replay to help them out, to make sure they don't miss the big calls. Most umpires understand the technology that is here. No umpire wants to miss a big play or a big call. I mean, you want to get it right. We did an umpire show earlier this year where we had Bruce Fleming on for the entire game, and we kind of took you inside the lives of the umpires. And they want to get it right. Umpires will tell you that players and fans demand consistency, but what they really demand is perfection, and that can't happen unless you have some sort of replay.
I think the umpires should be held to a standard of perfection once the players are.
Right.
And that's never going to happen. It's a game. I'm not talking about the end of the world or anything. You miss a play, that's the way it is.
Where it gets tricky, though, and something you've talked about for a long time, is where to place runners on when runners are in motion and a ball in play, and not just a boundary call, but save for out on a particular base, a guy missing a base. Who watches that? And that's where an eye in the sky would probably come into play, where he's watching at that moment of question where the runners are. And obviously there's going to be some controversy involved in that too. Where do you put runners? But that exists already.
Well, I guess you always have to if you're going to do it to that level. You always call it fair. You always call it in the ballpark if it's a home run. Let the play, work itself out, and then you can always reverse it and go back.
1-2 to Matt Stairs, pinch hitting. And down he goes.
Up in the zone. That's where you get Matt Stairs. That's where you pitch Adrian Gonzalez. And guys like that. The home run that he hit last night was, about mid-thigh, right in his hitting wheelhouse. That pitch a little bit up, and Stairs swings right through it. I think the umpires would welcome replay just to prove that, we're right 95% of the time anyway.
I agree. I think it only validates the umpires.
And replays that we show here, validate that they're right most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Umpires have a tough job.
Well, it's the only sport where they have to make a definitive call one way or another. Football they don't. You have to call a penalty. Basketball, let them play. Not baseball, you got to make a call. Fair or foul, safe or out, ball or strike.
Eckstein with 2 outs. Heath Bell, the Padres closer, sitting there with Mike Adams. They haven't seen Bell yet in the series. Adams pitched yesterday when a scoreless inning. Seven to 2 San Diego. Bell was Trevor Hoffman's protege. Led the National League in saves last year, and he is among league leaders this season again. The former Cardinal, David Eckstein. He was a World Series MVP with the Cardinals. He'll bring a little postseason experience to this roster if the Padres should make it to the playoffs. Eckstein strikes out. The inning is over. Coffey strikes out the side. 2 scoreless for Todd Coffey, and we go to the bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the 8th, excuse me. I want a replay of that.
Yeah, they put up with that, and then they have to be scrutinized on every call that they make.
See, I think you're looking at it all wrong, partner. It's not scrutinized. It's just it's helpful. We're just trying to help.
Helpful. Yeah.
Here's Lorenzo Cain. The new pitcher is Tim Stauffer in a 7-2 San Diego lead. Bottom of the 8th inning. We saw Stauffer pitch on Friday night. Trevor Hoffman is getting loose for the Brewers. Cain, Dickerson, and Lucroy due up, and Cain is gone, and here comes Dickerson, and here comes Drew Olson.
Well, B.A., while everything stopped during God Bless America before, I noticed that Chris Dickerson's spikes have the number 15 on them. I'm wondering if they're hand-me-downs from Jim Edmonds, because Dickerson did not wear those shoes with the Cincinnati Reds, I'm guessing. Now, Rock, when guys change teams, do they hand down equipment, and would you wear somebody else's shoes?
Would I?
He's wearing somebody else's shoes right now, actually.
Unless...
And they're both left feet.
None of I got them for free, but, you know, in a pinch, I might, if I had to go to the hip, I might borrow somebody's shoes, but... Tony Miliotto down in that club, well, he has a number of pairs of shoes in his equipment room, and I'm sure that Dickerson, if he asked for some Brewer-colored cleats,
he would oblige.
He'd have a wide variety of options for him, but who knows?
Well, Dickerson wore number 11 to start when he first got here. He was number 11, and then he changed his number to 7. And the number is 14 for Atlanta for Lou Piniella. Braves are just rolling over the Cubs, 14-5 in Pinella's last game. Dickerson is called out. Boy, that was a close play over there. Dickerson thought he beat it out. Let's go to the replay and see if he was safe or out.
Eddie Cedar very rarely has any disagreement with the first base umpire. He's out.
Out by a long shot. See,
he's out.
Like I'm saying, we're trying to help these guys.
Yeah, just helpful. Just to make sure they get it right, we're going to have replays.
Helpful. Eye in the sky, you would have seen that, and this game would have continued with no stoppage. They get him a big red light he could blink up here.
Major League Baseball is the best officiated game of all the major sports.
Absolutely.
They're the only full-timers, too, right? Not NBA. NBA's full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce Fremick told me to tell everybody that.
You're quoting Bruce Fremick now?
We saw Bruce a couple of days in a row here. It was a while we hadn't seen him.
He usually comes in, he says, hey, Schrates, how do you call balls and strikes from 300 feet away?
Right at 6:59.
Yes, he usually walks in just as we hit the air. Says, you got a minute?
Bruce, what do you got? Make it quick.
We look forward to those visits. We always get a couple of restaurant notices from Bruce Fremick.
We're going to get an instructional from Bruce this week.
I'd like to see Bruce end up at fantasy camp someday, Rock.
Yeah. You know, speaking of fantasy camp day today at the ballpark, they got introduced before the game today, and we have our big game at Miller Park on the field tomorrow.
All right.
All the fantasy campers come in. They get to play a game here on the ballpark.
So you go to fantasy camp in the winter, and then you get a chance to come back during the season and play a game here.
Play a game at Miller Park.
And that's all part of it?
Yep.
All right. I'll be at fantasy camp this year. Lucroy into right. Ludwig makes a catch. The inning is over. We head to the ninth. Jeet. Adrian Gonzalez started the scoring today with a home run. Chase Headley hit his 10th of the year. Gonzalez was 25th. Ryan Braun belted one out, his 18th of the season. But then the Padres, with 2 outs, scored 2 runs in the 5th, and then with 2 outs, scored 3 runs in the 6th. And that separated San Diego from Milwaukee. 7-2 Padres. And our Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question here today from Patty in Lake Mills. Rock, which catcher's mask is better to use, hockey style or traditional?
Well, they say that you could see a lot better, visibility a lot better with that hockey style catcher's mask, but protection I think is better with the conventional mask. You have more padding. Now, players and umpires that use that hockey style mask would disagree because there's more of a point to the hockey mask, and it kind of everything tapers off to the side. The chance of getting a direct hit right between the eyes and getting that full concussion is much less. But they never had that when I played.
Back in the good old days.
Back in the good old days. Charlie O'Brien, former Brewer, when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, hockey town up there, and the first to use the hockey style mask.
Well, Trevor Hoffman on the pitch, the former Padre, one of the great Padres. He's right up there with Tony Gwynn, one of the all-time legends in San Diego baseball history.
One thing about those hockey masks, though, you have you can bring some individualism to your mask. Kind of neat patterns on them.
No paint work.
Yeah,
a little artwork.
Can't do it with that.
Tejada rolls one foul. Greg Zahn was using that hockey style mask. I think we're going to see Greg Zahn in Cincinnati. He says he wants to come out and see the fellows and maybe hang out with us on the broadcast.
Yeah.
He has a future in television. For sure.
Yeah, he can talk.
He's a talker. Maybe he'll bring his mascot. In the left, Braun coming in. Tejada retired. One away in the ninth for Trevor. Our U.S. Cellular text to vote running out of time here. Get in your answers. We want to hear from you. Which Brewers rookie has impressed you the most this season? Text the corresponding letter to 234-234. Escobar is W, Lucroy is X, Y for Kane, Z for John Axford. We'll give this week's final results in our Brewers Live post-game show today. Our instructional today is outfield play. Gonzalez bounces one to Weeks. What will your role be again in the instructional line?
Well, we have to on Sundays use the outfield because the kids run the bases on Sundays here at Miller Park.
That's right.
So I'll probably be rolling some balls to Davey.
Davey will scoop
and throw. I will be rolling baseballs.
That is a great role.
I think
everybody has to know their role.
Yeah.
You're a good roller.
Maybe give him a couple of short hops.
Yeah. See if you can shake him up a little.
A couple of shin burgers. See, he's been out of the loop for a while in the instructionals. I just want to make sure that he feels a part of things.
Put a little English on it, like those cricket bowlers do.
Yeah. Yep, I may make a couple of them a little tough for Davey. We'll see.
See if he's on his toes. He's usually up for stuff like that. That'll be fun. Craig Kashawn, Davey Nelson standing by for Brewers Live postgame once we're done here. The Braves have added to their lead. It's 16-3 Atlanta. They lead the Cubs. Piniella might have left already. He might have just called it a career.
Pulled a Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, and all joking aside, though, Piniella is in fact retired for good, which he says he is. What a great managerial career. Not just he was a terrific ball player as well, a major league player, and then a World Series winning manager, one of the game's most colorful characters. It's got to be tough for him to call it quits, especially going out like this.
It's got to be a tough decision for him. It really does. A guy that in his day could snap with the best of them.
Hoffman strikes out Ludwig. And Trevor picks up a scoreless inning in this series against his old team. At this point, our Menards player of the game is John Garland. He goes 5 1/3 today, gives up 8 hits, just 2 runs, and 4 strikeouts. He's in line for the win. It would be his 13th of the year. Pitched out of some trouble early, did Garland. Had a long consecutive scoreless inning streak snapped here today. He had gotten it to 21 innings, and Ryan Braun's home run snapped that streak. And at this point, he's our Menards player of the game. Rally caps are on, sombrero style. And here comes Alcides Escobar to pinch hit. 7-2 San Diego. Last call for the Brewers here in the ninth. Escobar, then Weeks, then Counsell. The Brewers won the first 2 games of the series. Edward Mujica is on the pitch, a hard thrower.
Yeah, hard throw with a good slider. 47th appearance from Mujica and a .331 earned run average. More strikeouts than innings pitched. You see a lot of that with this bullpen for San Diego. And guys coming in with more strikeouts than innings pitched, and all of them have pretty good control.
Escobar sends it high in the air, foul territory, and Tejada can't make the play. Looked like it might have been an easier play for Denorfia, but Tejada called everybody off and then botched it.
Yep, it's all about pop-up priority. Tough play for the third baseman as you angle back. The further it gets out there, the shortstop has a better angle, and then even further, the left fielder is the guy to make that catch. Denorfia is standing there waiting for it, but off the glove of Tejada. So Escobar is still alive.
2 balls and a strike on Escobar. There's strike 2. Now the Padres came to Milwaukee as one of the hottest teams in baseball. They had won 5 in a row. They had won 9 of 10 prior to this series. Mujica retires Escobar. San Diego, like the Brewers, will have tomorrow off. And then they begin a homestand with the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. That'll be a big tester series at home against Philadelphia. A lot of home games the Padres do the rest of the way. But their final 3 games of their schedule, San Diego goes to San Francisco for the last 3. And that might be the series that decides who goes to the postseason.
Yeah, there's 6 more games between the Giants and the Padres. Yeah, 3 at home, 3 on the road.
Beginning play today, San Diego, a 5-game lead over San Francisco. And the Giants lost today in St. Louis. Cardinals able to right the ship the last couple of days. Jaime Garcia went the distance. A complete game shutout. 3-hitter. 9-0. The Cardinals beat the Giants today. So the Padres are 2 outs away from leaving Milwaukee right where they started. 6 games up on the Giants. The Phillies are the wild card leader right now, and they are in a rain delay in Philadelphia. 4-0 Phillies. Roy Oswalt with the 7 shutout. Phillies started the day with a 1-game lead over the Giants, 2 up on the Cardinals in the wild card race. There's a base hit. Ricky Weeks with his 2nd hit. And he's on his way to second. That'll be a double for Ricky Weeks. Well, if nothing else, it means we'll get a chance to see Braun hit again, barring a double play.
And Ricky doing a nice job centering on that pitch and ripping it down the left field line. The sinking fastball, a pitch that a lot of these Padres use out there. That went up in the zone and middle in, and Ricky able to get a 1-out double.
Counsell trying to keep it going. A lazy fly ball. Durango is over, so is DeNorfia, and it's Durango to make the catch. 2 outs. And the last hope for the Brewers, Ryan Braun. Tuesday, the Brewers will send up Dave Bush against Hiroki Kuroda. And don't be fooled by Kuroda's record. He's 8-11, but an ERA of 3.48. He's a good one. Randy Wolf against Ted Lilly on Wednesday. Dodgers have not announced a pitcher for Thursday's game yet. Gallardo will start for the Brewers. 3-game series with Los Angeles. Joe Torre said he would be announcing his future plans. He's in the final year of his contract with the Dodgers. Once the Dodgers are either in the postseason or eliminated from postseason contention, and they're going towards the latter at this point. They're 7 out of the wild card.
Yeah, you got to figure that the Dodgers are one of the biggest disappointments in baseball this year.
Joe Torre will be available as Braun delivers a base hit. Here comes Weeks around third. He'll score. Ryan Braun having a terrific day today. A 2-hit game, 3 RBIs. And the Brewers still with some fight here in the 9th. It's 7-3 San Diego.
And a beautiful approach that time, taking that pitch away from him and lining it into right field. He's just going line to line right now. This is the way he was swinging the bat at the beginning of the season. In the middle of the season, a bit rough for Ryan Braun, according to his standards, but able to let that ball travel. You see how far back in the hitting zone he let it travel, and able to rifle it into right field. Gets on top of it. Nice level swing. Letting the baseball get to you, that's the key to hitting a ball to the opposite field.
Braun takes off, fielder fouls it away. Ryan on base for the 4th time here. And reached base in this series 11 times. Via hit or walk. Bouncing ball. Tejada ranging over. He's got it, and that is the ball game. The Brewers drop the finale to the San Diego Padres. San Diego back up 6 games in the National League West with the win today. Still much more to come on this game. Craig, Sean, what do you have coming up for us on Brewers Live, sponsored by Lincoln Mercury? Craig?
Well, despite the loss, still a good series, Brian and Bill. You know that. The Brewers take it 2 games to 1. We'll look over that series, talk to Brewer coaches and also Ken Maka. Get inside that Brewer clubhouse and our on-field instructional fielding techniques in the outfield. All next.